we will be discussing tonight. Hello guys, how you guys doing? Again, this is Carlos Tierney here, coming from Champions Martial Arts. Had a great evening of classes, and tonight is our third part of our Bullying Ends Here campaign that we've been doing. We're going to be discussing cyberbullying, and we just want to give everyone a few minutes to kind of come on. We're going to go over different things as to, not cyberbullying, I'm sorry, sibling bullying. We're going to go over a couple of things that I came across that I want to share you guys about sibling bullying. So we're going to discuss one, what is bullying? What causes our siblings to bully back and forth with each other? We're going to look for signs of that our kids are bullying one another. What are we should be looking for from our children, and different signs that we see from them as to how they're treating each other. And then other things that we can do to help curb some of that. So I'm going to give everyone a few minutes to come on. Again, I can't really see my comments in Facebook right now, so as they do come in, I will comment with you there. Hey, Katie, how you doing? Thank you for joining. I hope you can stay with us. Again, if you have any questions, any comments you want to drop in, please feel free. Again, guys, we're going to start in a few minutes here, get everybody logged in here, and then we'll be rocking and rolling. Just want to see if I can do this here. I'm going to do that. Okay. Do this. Give me 1 second here, guys. Just trying to pull this all together. Technology, I love it, but sometimes it rears its head too to be kind of a pain every once in a while. So I'm just trying to see if I can get this to work for us here. Just give me 1 second. 1, 2, I don't want to do that. So now I want to do this. How's everyone doing this evening? James, how you doing, son? Missing you right now, bud. Hope to get you back on the mat hopefully next week there. I know you can't really do a lot of moving around and stuff, but we can definitely get you just being there so people can see you and kind of get you back in the groove of things here. All right, here we go. Perfect. All right, good. Okay, yeah, so I do have the page set up in our Facebook page. I'm just going to see if I can comment here. Join in. Bam. All right. Set this up to go right now. Start. Okay, yeah. Whoop. Oh, there we go. All right. Let's see what I got here. All right. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get started here, guys. Hey, Lucas, how you doing, bud? So we're going to discuss sibling bullying. We're going to discuss that right now. I know for my kids, anyone that has kids, I'm sure you've gone through this with your own, where there's a lot of teasing that goes back and forth, a lot of different things to kind of get under each other's skin. And as we go through it with our families and we go through this cycle with our kids, we have to understand that this isn't necessarily always bullying, right? It's just, I have siblings. I'm sure most of you have siblings. It's just a little bit of teasing kind of going back and forth, but it's not so much the bullying that we're going to be discussing tonight. But again, it definitely does happen, and you want to be aware of it, and you want to make sure that your kids are responding to each other in the way that they should, obviously in love, because they are one another's family members. So today what we're going to talk about, again, is just sibling bullying. About 30% of kids experience being bullied at home. And again, we're talking not just the teasing part, but a little bit more of the targeting of bullying that kids will go through. So here are some signs we want to look for. Okay, if you always see that the kids are fighting, and that sometimes when they're fighting back and forth, it's a little more intense than what it probably should be. As a parent, we all kind of know what that type of energy is like. So we want to be aware of that type of energy when we see our kids interacting with each other when they have a disagreement, because that's going to happen at times too. They're going to have some disagreements. And in those cases, we want to make sure we're watching how they're interacting with each other. We also want to be aware of that there's patterns of fighting with them, right? So if I know that my son, my oldest son and my oldest daughter, if they seem to always be bumping heads and clashing heads, and it's always like my son either coming after my daughter or her kind of always finding something to kind of pick at him, to get at him, that's where you kind of turn into some of the bullying tendencies that you will see. Right. A couple of things is the altercations within the bullying. Right. And sometimes, again, these are signs you want to look for. If the bully in the family is bigger, they could be bigger. The person can be a little more socially experienced in conversation and wording and how to say things to get under the other one person's skin, or how to be hurtful within their words. That person can be, again, just older or bigger. So those are things you want to look for too as you're watching the dynamics of the interaction and what's happening. Is someone trying to overpower the other person in their bullying situation? Again, we're talking about sibling bullying, and we want to make sure we're watching these patterns that we're seeing, right? Another thing we want to watch out for too is when there is an interaction and now it's time for them to kind of make up. Is the person that was being the aggressive bully, do they have any empathy towards the person that they were bullying, right? Do they have any, do they seem like they care that they hurt this other person's feelings, or this other person was hurt by their interaction, their actions during the time that they were bullying them? One of the other things we want to be aware of too is, as the kids are going through this bullying phase, and you're having them correct that behavior, how is the other kid afterwards? Are they making up with them? Are they talking to them? Are they still kind of having that edge? And I know you all understand what I'm talking about. I know sometimes when I have to kind of correct my kids, they get a little more, or the one I had to correct about it doesn't get too happy, whether it be with me or their parents or the moms, or it could be with the other person because they feel the other person got them in trouble. And that really wasn't the case. If they chose not to respond or react in the way that they did, that's where they got themselves in trouble, was there. So when you're talking about sibling bullying, these are things we want to look for. So again, I'm going to go backwards in our signs that we want to look for. And we want to look for if we're able to correct whatever the behavior is the person that was being the bully showing empathy towards the other kid. The other one is, are they willing to make up? I'm sure there's times within a bullying situation that a child may be bullying another person or another family member, and a parent makes that child that was bullying maybe go apologize and fix the situation, and that kid doesn't go do it. That's something you really want to be aware of, because that can turn into something more than what it needs to be. So we really want to watch that as to how the kids respond when they're supposed to be correcting the behavior. Another thing we want to look into is the altercation of the siblings, right? Who seems to be the more powerful, more dominant figure? Okay, so thank you, brother. Thank you, Kay. More dominant figure in this bullying situation, right? Sometimes, it could be the older brother, or it could be the older sister that's kind of nitpicking and knowing exactly what buttons to push on that sibling, and really digging into them to make them feel, down about themselves, or not feeling confident about who they are and what they're able to do. So that's something we want to watch as well. It could be the older, it could be the bigger sibling, it could be the younger sibling, it could be the one that is not as, maybe a little bit more socially knows how to pick and knows how to prod and knows how to really get under that other sibling's skin to really get them boiling. And then all of a sudden now that person explodes, and now you have this big chaos going on in the home, right? That could have been checked way back when we saw the patterns kind of happening. So it's not always the oldest brother or the oldest sister. It's not always the biggest brother or the biggest sister. It can be the little brother. It could be the little sister. It could be the one that just knows the right things to say and the right things to do to get under that person's skin. So we really want to be aware of that and watching that. I got some dings coming in on my Facebook page. I'm gonna see if I can catch what you guys are saying here. Yes, I'm gonna leave the page. I see your comment came in there, Sharon. I'm just trying to find how I get to you. Sorry. Just give me 1 second here. I'm not really sure. Oh, there we go. Sorry, my wife brought me her phone, so this is perfect. Let's see here. All right, cool. All right, so here's what we got here. I have a kid being bullied, asked their parents, invite them to a bully for the dinner, and that may, the bully may be going through things. Oh, you're discussing sibling. Yeah, so we are discussing sibling. I have done our regular bullying, but again, sibling, same thing. You know, we want to make sure we take some of the same steps that we are building to end bullying in the schools and getting those bullies to come out. And we want to take those same steps, Sharon, and do it in our family. So maybe as a family, we all come together in the moment of a situation that may seem to be a problem. Maybe we all sit down and we paint together, or maybe we all get together in the kitchen and we cook together, or maybe we do something to kind of to bridge that gap between one another. And then we're able to kind of help end it within our family situation. So, but yes, great things that you have on here. And guys, if you have a chance to check out Sharon, our Facebook group or Facebook page, she does have some good points on what you can do with that bully. All right. So again, we have two more things I want to kind of backtrack here a little bit. Making sure that make sure that we're watching the patterns of the bullying, right? So if the patterns become, it seems like it's like a targeting. Hey, Kens, how you doing? Good to see you in class tonight, Kens. Way to get it done. I see you. All right. We're talking about sibling bullying. I'm sure you've been through this with your brother, Zach, over the years, Kenzie, where he was probably poking and picking and prodding and just to get you to respond and react, and all of a sudden, and now you have your little bambinos, and as they grow, you're going to go through some of these challenges as well as your parents have gone through with you, and as I go through with my family, and just we all go through it, right? Again, but we want to make sure we are able to. Hey T, how you doing? I know that's T, that's not James. Hey T, how you doing, T? I know she says hi, Dad. That's definitely my T. So again, these are things we just really want to watch, guys, and just kind of monitor. And the last one that's kind of going backtrack here is fighting among siblings is more intense, right? So when you see it's kind of like really testy, you really want to watch that. Okay, so now let's really quick, try to go over why bullying happens. Why does it happen? There's a couple things that happen. One, oh no, it was James. All right, cool. What's up, James? How you doing, son? I'm sorry, I thought it was just a second to hide that. One of the things we want to watch is if, as a family and as a parent, in some cases, if you show favoritism or more favoritism to one child, another child may feel neglected. It's really, 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 really hard in some cases to do and not do because maybe you have some kids that are progressing in some areas a little faster, a little bit more a little bit more attention driven, right? So you see them, you're acknowledging them, and you may have some kids that are not in that same space, that are not doing those same things. And this is where you have to be careful and be mindful of how they're going to be responding to what they perceive as favoritism, right? So we really want to be careful of that, because that being said, in some cases that child may feel as if they are not as looked at as the same. And again, if you go back to the Bible story of Cain and Abel, it kind of tells you that same jealousy between brothers and what ended up happening there. So we want to really be aware of that and be cautious of that. Another sign of bullying is that maybe the other sibling is just seems to be a little bit more aggressive, towards their sibling, and we want to make sure we're kind of monitoring that and make sure we're keeping an eye on that, because again, these are things that we want to be careful of. Again, sometimes when you think about the pattern of family, sometimes let's look at the wild, ideally, right? There's always someone that's trying to be the hierarchy, right? And you want to really watch that to see how that's going, because that's where you can get to some of that bullying type thing that happens. And then sometimes it's just simple jealousy of the other sibling. All right, so again, we just want to be aware of these things, guys, because it's really, really important that we're watching it, because as we watch it, we want to be able to help our families be able to kind of grow from it. So here are some things I want you guys to think about to help with sibling bullying at home. Okay, one thing you want to make sure you do, just like any type of bullying, is you don't want to ignore it. You want to make sure that you get right on top of it, and you are at it, and you and your family are discussing what's going on within the situation that you have. All right, so again, you want to make sure you address it right away. Don't ignore it. One of the things you want to make sure you do is you want to make sure you have empathy for that person, the child that is being bullied, right? And it could be a situation where, again, one may feel that they're jealous or that they're not getting the same response as you give to the other child. But you want to make sure you're showing empathy to that child, because, again, they don't feel the empathy from you. They're going to take on that victim role, and we want to make sure we're not allowing them to take on that victim role. All right. One thing we also want to do is we want to make sure we provide extra supervision. You know how, like, when you're in the earshot of your children and you can hear things happening, you want to make sure you're listening to what's going on, what's being said, and how it's formulating. Because if I can pay attention to how it's formulating, I can, one, nip it in the bud before it gets going to where it doesn't want to be, or I can chime in and kind of help them kind of deal with whatever the situation it may be that they're having. I'll give you an example. My kids one day were outside playing some kind of ball game that they were doing, and the kids they're playing a game, and one of my youngest son got upset with my oldest son because he felt that he was cheating. Now, let me go back. My oldest son got upset with my younger son and my daughter because, James, I know you remember this, because he felt that they were cheating and they weren't following the rules that he put forth, and this, that, and the other, but it wasn't something that they all agreed upon, right? It was something that he created as what he felt should have been the way it's going. So he gets upset and he walks away from the activity and game that they're playing. So I'm like, what are you doing? I do my part. Why are you walking away? You're supposed to be a leader. You're supposed to show them this, that, and the other. You can't allow them to control your emotions. Find out what the problem is and try to solve the problem. So then the other situation happened within the same game. My youngest son blamed my daughter for whatever she was doing within the game that he didn't feel was fair. So he storms off, blah, 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 thinks he's going to go in the house and just stay in the house and not participate in what they're doing. And again, this is something I had to kind of get a balance of right away and show them how to deal with these situations, because now he goes in the house, he's no longer having fun, he's in the house pouting and being upset when it's something that we could have just kind of communicated with one another and they all were able to play. Now my daughter, she's upset because both brothers are blaming her, and it's this whole thing that's just kind of going on in my own little family circumference, right? But again, I am doing my very best to teach my children how to communicate with one another and how to get through these little moments so they can grow and become the best they can be, not just with each other, but with others as well. So these are some things I know I have to experience myself as a parent, and I want you guys to know kind of the same thing that you're going to be doing too. All right. Number 4 that I have here, help the children identify what bullying is, right? There's a difference between teasing and bullying. There's a huge difference between teasing and bullying. Bullying is a targeted effort to cause physical or emotional harm. Teasing is one thing and bullying is another. This is a topic because sometimes we focus on our children growing up, but not the bullies, when they're really, when in reality, bully happens in our own homes. Yep. Even the thought of my kids being bullied each other. Yeah. I mean, and again, this is the thing though, Kenzie, thank you for posting that up. That's great. It's identifying what the bullying is though, right? Because teasing and bullying are two different things. But when we talk about bullying, sometimes kids come home and bully at home because they're being bullied in school. And it's that situation of where they feel how they feel in school, they don't know how to get it out. So the only way they can get it out is when they get home, they take it out on who is the weaker or the one that they feel they can unleash on at home. And these are things that we have to be aware of because, no, not Keisha, stop talking. Sorry, my daughter's chiming in on me here. But these are the type of things that we have to make sure we address in the home. Because if I can address it in the home, I may not even realize that my son or my daughter is being bullied in school and they're bringing it home until I actually have that conversation with them. So again, it all kind of intertwines and all comes together, right? Same thing with cyberbullying. Cyberbullying can be happening and they see it, they visualize it, someone's saying something to them, and instead of dealing with it, talking with you as a parent or talking with someone about it, they go and they take it out on someone else, which now becomes a double bully, which becomes an even more dangerous situation. So we really want to be aware of that as we're going. So Kenzie, thank you for posting that and really appreciate that input. One of the things we want to make sure we're doing with our children is we want to make sure we're creating the environment that does not condone this type of behavior. Again, sometimes we see our kids bickering back and forth and fighting back and forth. And I know as I was coming up, it's kind of like my parents like to see like what's going to happen with this, right? But we want to be aware, that we want to teach our children how to deal with conflict, right? And sometimes dealing with conflict isn't going until someone is hurt physically or emotionally. Sometimes teaching our kids how to deal with conflict is teaching them how to communicate whatever it is that they're trying to get out to the other person. That is the key. And again, we just want to make sure we're being aware of that as well. All right, again, I'm just going to go through my comments real quick, guys. If you have any comments you want to add, or anything you want to add to this video, I greatly appreciate it. Please feel free. This video will be recorded. I will have it live on Facebook. I'm sorry, I will have a link up on Facebook. Also, I have it in our YouTube page that you'll be able to go and follow as well. So I'm going to give like another minute or so if anyone wants to chime in. I greatly appreciate it. I do have a Facebook message. I'm going to see what this one's about. How can I handle sibling bullying in my school? I see sibling bullying each other all the time. So Sharon, same thing. What I would recommend that you do in that situation is you get both of them together and you express the importance of them taking care of one another, right? When they're outside their home and when they're in a public place, whether it be school, whether it be somewhere else, we want to make sure that they understand that the two of them are the most important two people they have outside of being outside their house. And they have to be protecting each other, looking out for each other, and having compassion for one another. So that would be the first thing I would try to do if I see sibling bullying going on in a school. One of the other things I will also just sit down and talk with them and see what is the issue that's really happening, and then how can we help them get to a better place. That's another way that we can do it too. Again, you just want to make sure that it's the power of the communication that you have with them and the connection you're able to build with them to help them open up to you and open up to each other, and then helping them resolve the issue. Because again, your siblings, especially when you're outside in the world and you're in school and you're in those places, that's your number one connection. That's your powerful connection that you have that you really want to build on and always try to remember. Kenzie, I'm going to see what your comment just said here. It says, what advice would you give a biracial 11-year-old girl? She is getting bullied for her hair, and it drives me nuts when she tells me, and breaks my heart. It makes her self-conscious at 11. Yeah, so again, this is the bullying where we said that in my last video that we talked about, 67% of kids are bullied for how they look, right? So this is something that she's being bullied by, something that she can't, this is her hair. She's nothing that she can do to control. This is how her hair is. My daughter is my older son and my daughter are both are biracial. So again, I'm not sure if my daughter's experiencing this type thing, but if it was me, I would tell my daughter, listen, not everyone's hair is the same. Not everyone's hair is the same. Whether it's biracial, whether you're white, whether you're Chinese, whether you're whatever it may be, not everyone's hair is the same. And she is fortunate to have such a beautiful lock of hair. And just kind of getting her to understand that, and then not allowing, as I said in the last one of the other ones I talked about, is that when you allow the words to enter you and get into your subconscious, now it starts to affect you. They are just words. Again, she is a beautiful young lady. She has to know that she's a beautiful young lady, and what her hair is doesn't make up the person of who she is. And that is something that I would definitely try to steer her more towards than trying to combat someone saying something about her hair. Telling her how to deal with that and not allowing it to affect her would be the number one way that I would try to help her in that situation, if you understand what I'm saying. Sharon, you're welcome, and thank you. Thank you for your great information you're giving us here. I love being able to help in that situation. I enjoyed working at the school district when I was there because I felt I had an opportunity to help with the kids and just how they communicate with each other and how they deal with one another and how they deal with adults. So I'm so happy to hear that you're still fighting that fight and you're still helping these kids the best that you possibly can. And by the way, you were at Ed Smith the other day. My son goes to Ed Smith, so I thank you for going and helping out and putting their school together as well. Any other comments or questions coming in? Kenzie, but you get what I'm saying, though? If you follow me what I'm saying, just give me some thumbs up so I know you get how we have to change that mindset, right? We got to change the thought of when someone says something to us, we allow it, how we allow it. We have a choice. We have to teach our children. They have a choice as to how they allow someone's words to affect them. And I think that's definitely a way that I would approach it with her, because she is a strong-willed young lady, and she is a beautiful young lady. And again, once she can understand that, there's nothing that anyone can say that will affect her in that way, because she is going to be so strong in her confidence and belief in who she is, and that's going to help her go over anything that anyone can say. All right. Okay, so again, I am going to log off now. I want to thank you all for coming in. Again, I will have a I will have my YouTube page. I will have this on my YouTube page, CT Champions MA TV on YouTube. And then we also have it on our Facebook page. So you guys can always go to our Facebook page or our YouTube page and watch it. I am going to take all the videos that we've been doing. I'm going to put it in a collection that I have in my online university, where you can go and you can download the online university course. And in the course, I have all these videos on the bullying. So I have our school-age bullying, and I have our cyber bullying. This week was our sibling bullying. And next week, guys, next week, make sure you join me. Next week, we're going to discuss adult bullying, workplace bullying, things of that nature, that because it still happens, even though we know as kids it's not something we want for our kids, it still happens to people in their workplace and in the environments that they're in. So this is something we're definitely going to target next week. Again, 8:30. If you can tell other people about it and invite them to the meeting, guys, or to our discussion, we greatly appreciate it. I hope you guys have a wonderful night, and we'll see you all soon. All right, guys, take care. Bye now.